Hey everyone, it's me Jasmine again, and welcome to another day in my life. I don't know if this is going to be the best day of my life because of this video. I do not like making videos like this, and I started making a video like this so many times, but yeah, but so far so good. This is the best day of my life. So far so good. Anyway, I'm making this video in regards to Nobita. So Nobita is a Japanese vlogger who has made many videos addressing black people, and many black people would ask, like, why is he making videos about black people? Because he's never lived in the US, and it doesn't seem like he does like thorough research like regarding black people. So he has like, it looks like he has really strong opinions, which one can classify as racist opinions about black people. So it was always weird to me, and in some forums that I'm in, like, why is he making these videos if he doesn't really have enough like thorough research about black people? So I wanted to make this video addressing like a few of his older videos way back, not way back actually. I wanted to make a video response to those videos, but I'm a firm believer in the quote. I'm not gonna say it like word for word, but the basis of the quote is that if you see someone who is like, they don't know something, but they act like they know something, you can't teach them, so just leave them alone, shun them. However, if you do meet someone who doesn't know something, but they're open to receiving the knowledge, and they know that they don't know something, you can teach that person. So in Nobita's older videos, how he talks to black people and everything is like really aggressive, and it seemed like he wasn't open to learning anything. It seemed like he had his opinions and that's it. He had these statistics and that's it. However, yeah, that's why I didn't make a response video. However, recently he made a video with Gizmatic. If you're watching this, I like your videos. Yeah, he had a debate with them, and I thought the debate was pretty good. And it's because of that video that I thought, hey, actually, maybe he's open to learning something. So in regards to that debate video, I wanted to add a few additional points to his videos. Another reason why I was really hesitant to make this video is because I'm fully aware that people don't change their minds just by information. So if you offend someone, then they're most likely not going to change their mind. This has also been studied. Source in the description box. So I don't even know if this is going to fall on deaf ears. I don't know if people are going to think that I'm attacking them personally and get like offensive. Moving forward, there's probably going to be so many disclaimers in this video, but that's okay, because people get so butthurt over race. It's like something that's made up, guys. Yeah, but moving forward, so I realized something that many times, especially recently, when people are talking about like white privilege and white people did this and all this stuff, I feel like I'm not a white person, so I don't know, but I feel like when people say stuff like that, white people get offended and they shut down because they think that you're talking about them, like the individual, like you did this. So to avoid that, I am now going to coin the phrase tea people, angry tea people. Why? Because I'm drinking tea. So that white people, if you guys are watching this, I don't mean you in particular, you did this. I mean like people in the past, people who have actually made these actions, they did this. They happen to be white, so they are now angry tea people, okay? We're all good now? Okay, Nobita, I know that you're receiving death threats. I know that people have threatened to hurt you, and I don't think that it's any of my viewers at all. However, if any of you watching this have ever threatened Nobita, I think that it's so ridiculous, because all it means is that, hey, you have said something that has angered me and I can't control my angers, so I'm going to resort to an animalistic approach and I'm going to beat you so I feel better about myself. So this is like so childish, not like threatening to kill someone, just like the fact that some people cannot handle their emotions, so they have to resort to a physical approach. So I'm telling you, my viewers, if you have ever threatened Nobita, please just stop. It's ridiculous. So Nobita, in your debate video, here are some of the quotes that you said. You said that some black people always try to be the victim. You said that some of your black students say that white people are bad, and most crimes are made by black people. Like around the 9-minute mark, you said most crimes are made by black people. You think that subconsciously people keep that in mind. Maybe they're judging by race, but have a logical reason to do so. So 50% of crime is made by Black people. That's around the 9-minute mark. You also said around the 10-minute mark, you said you assume that Black crime rate is high. Blacks are also to blame. Assume Black crime rate is high. Yeah, Blacks are also to blame because if they didn't get that bad reputation in the first place, nobody would have felt fear to Black people. Most people don't hate someone with no reason. You also said you don't think cops racially discriminate. Maybe it's based on the crime rate of Black people. Maybe that's the reason behind it. If that's the case, maybe Blacks are also to blame. I just wanted to educate you on a few things. Let's start with the portrayal of Black people. Let's start with Hollywood, okay? Hollywood is the biggest film industry in the world, but the majority of the Hollywood executives are older white men. So when they are approving movies to be made, how do you think the storyline is going to be? You also must consider the fact that these men grew up in a time where Jim Crow laws were prevalent, or they're used to the concept of having Jim Crow laws. So if you do not know, slavery ended in 1865. And after slavery, many states and locals had laws called the Jim Crow laws that segregated where Blacks could and could not go and what they could and could not do. So the Jim Crow laws ended in 1965. And you have to also remember that just because legally something ends, it doesn't mean just like the next day, oh, hey guys, we're friends and you can now go here. Like, people have lived this way for such a long time. So my grandmother, she remembers the Jim Crow law. So when I ask her about stories that happened to her in her childhood, when she would visit her father, when she would take the train or something like that, she would tell me how she would have to change cars in the train when she goes past the Mason-Dixon line because Blacks couldn't be in a certain car. So like, there are people alive who remember segregation, and they taught this way of life to their children. However, if I ask my white friends and their grandparents about like life when they were younger, they never mentioned Jim Crow laws at all because it didn't strongly affect them as it did Black people, or at least the Black people I know, for example, my grandmother. So you have these people approving stories and movies in Hollywood that are portraying Blacks as being inferior because the Jim Crow laws basically made it so that Blacks were inferior to whites. These are movies and stories that are being shown all around the world where the leads are white people. Of course, things are changing right now, where there's like more women getting more roles and everything, but minorities, Black people, Japanese people, like just people of color, they need more leadership roles. But the people in power, like Hollywood executives or CEOs, are primarily older white men. Minorities have difficulties finding roles outside of stereotypes in Hollywood. So many times I've seen, I've watched YouTube videos, I've seen studies, and I will put all of my sources in the description box below, by the way, of minority people saying, like an Indian guy saying, like when he was auditioning for a role and he grew up in the US and he doesn't have any accent, the people, the panel or whatever, they would tell him to do like a stereotypical Indian accent or something like that. They can't, it's difficult. I'm not going to say they can't, but it's very difficult for them to find work that is outside of a stereotype. And these are roles, these are movies that people all over the world are seeing. So when they see a Black person that is portrayed as a thug, as a convict or something like that, like how do you think the world is going to view Black people? So representation matters. If you don't see something, you don't know it exists. Because we have such a strong giant like Hollywood and the media and various different sources showing a narrative of Black people that is not conducive to us. It's showing the whole world about how Black people are, and Black children are seeing this too, so it does not show the possibilities of what Black people can be. So I found it really interesting how founder of Pencils of Promise, Adam Braun, when he went to India, he saw a begging Indian boy, and he asked the boy, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? And the boy said, a pencil. And Adam was kind of like confused. He asked again, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? And the boy repeated he wanted a pencil. There's probably many reasons why he said a pencil. But from my experience, having been born in Baltimore City, but I grew up outside of Baltimore City, seeing how people who I knew grew up in impoverished areas in Baltimore City, and then going to where I moved and where people had more money in this predominantly white area. These people in these impoverished areas, they don't know the possibilities of what they could be. They don't know that they can be a cryptologist. Many people don't even know what a cryptologist is. Are you Googling it? But yeah, like if you don't know it exists, you don't know that you can do it. You don't know if you can be it. And because there's so many people in these areas who don't have access to education, they don't know the various possibilities of how to get out of the situation. And on TV, if they keep seeing images of people that look like them as like getting in trouble with the law or in jail or something like that, that becomes their reality. And this is what they think they could be. Oh, I can go to jail. What people see around them positively or negatively affects how they're going to be themselves, or what they're going to expect of themselves or of others. So like I said before, if the majority of Hollywood executives are older white men, what do they have in common with a poor black child, or just like a poor minority child, or any minority or something like that? Or if they're not approving stories that are very different to their own to be made into a movie, then how are these people, how are these minorities going to see images of people that look like them in various situations and know the possibilities that they can become? Let's move on to the legal system. So you said a lot of black people live in fatherlessness that causes their living pretty poor. They can't go to college or can't find a job. So I guess this was one of your reasons to explain black crime, I guess, and the black poverty. So let's go on to the legal system. So this has been studied so much that I was astounded that I didn't see, like, you found any articles on this, or that you looked. So I provided a source in the description box below. All of this information that I'm saying, it can be found in the sources in the description box below. So black male federal arrestees ultimately face longer prison terms than whites arrested for the same crime. So imagine that there are two guys, they both get arrested for having drugs or something like that. So if they both get arrested, it's more likely that the black person is going to be incarcerated for a longer time than the white person. So if the black person is away, they legally cannot see their family, they legally cannot be there to take care of their family. So how are they expected to father their children? This can also be said to be white privilege. Like, why does the white guy get to get off easily and the black guy gets a harsher term? Or maybe the white guy should get a harsher term too, or maybe both people should have less harsh terms. But yeah, some people can say that this is white privilege. You also said that cops don't racially discriminate. There have been former KKK members and white supremacists and former cops, retired cops, that have come forward, countless, have come forward saying that, hey, I used to do this, or hey, like, this is happening. There's Christian Picciolini, who's a former neo-Nazi who admitted to encouraging other white supremacists to join law enforcement. PBS also did an article about the FBI's investigation of white supremacists infiltrating law enforcement. So this was a tactic, this was a strategy for the KKK or white supremacists or neo-Nazis to join law enforcement, become police officers, and discriminate against minorities. In 2015, a Baltimore white former police officer, Michael Wood, told media about the police force targeting poor black people. Like, this information just came up. All you have to do is Google.
To close out our tour, Mike took me to a part of Baltimore that was very different from everything we'd seen so far. A white neighborhood on the north side of town. It's where he was transferred after about 4 years on the force. He found the contrast astonishing. He also found it difficult to make his numbers because all of a sudden he didn't have anyone to arrest. His solution? Drive 2 blocks away into a part of town where he could easily find young black men.
So who would you arrest here? For what? It seems like you need a reason. You were saying earlier that it's arbitrary.
But you don't! That's the thing you're not understanding. So, like, they were in the street.
Uh-huh. That's
That's
it?
enough.
That's enough?
Yeah, it's jaywalking. Okay, so if they throw a cigarette on the ground, you can do it. And people do those petty arrests. You'll see them. So Freddie Gray being arrested for a spring-loaded pocket knife, you can't tell me that black people carry spring-assisted pocket knives at a greater ratio than white people do. That's or even Hispanics, because they're doing the construction sites around here. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Of course we all have I have a spring-assisted pocket knife. But conveniently, legally, there's an exception for police, imagine that. So when you go and you look at the arrest records, what are you gonna see? But the people here are carrying spring-assisted pocket knives at the same ratio as the people up there. So we're not focused on the crime of the spring-assisted pocket knife. We're focused on the crime of being black and poor.
But this is like everywhere, so I was surprised that you never brought this up, Nobita. Lastly, you asked if there is any situation where black privilege exists. I think yes, of course. I think every ethnicity, every person, every individual has a certain type of privilege that they have over other people. I just think that some people have, or some ethnicities have, more privileges than other people. So in conclusion, Nobita, if you're watching this, I just wanted to say that this video is only to educate you. If you don't understand anything, you can feel free to ask me. Anyone else, if you don't understand something, feel free to ask me. If you disagree with something, I invite you to respectfully disagree and provide your sources so I can learn. In addition, I just wanted to point out that many of my foreign friends, like having traveled, I have come to understand the narrative of how black people are portrayed in other people's eyes, what they learn, what my foreign friends learn from like Hollywood and everything. So the image of black people is kind of interesting. So for example, many of my foreign friends don't even know about the Jim Crow laws. So Nobita, I invite you to learn more about the Jim Crow laws. And I want to say that black people have had so many successes in the US. And yes, some of them were destroyed. For example, Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was a community of black-owned businesses where a lot of the entrepreneurs were multi-millionaire black people, but it was destroyed. It was even air bombed by the angry tea people. Haha, I used my word. Yeah, but it was destroyed by the angry tea people. I agree that victim mentality does exist, and it does exist in the black community as well as various other communities. However, can you imagine even like throughout history seeing your ethnicity try to rise and then it gets torn down? So you have the Black Wall Street, and then it gets torn down and air bombed. Oh, you see like people that look like you and they're thriving, they're becoming lawyers and politicians, and then there's rioting. So there's a reason why people are just like, okay, this isn't working. What else can I do? These people, these angry tea people keep destroying what we're trying to build. Like, how else can we thrive? What else can we do? So I can understand why some people may pursue illegal approaches. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying that it's okay, disclaimer. But I can understand why people may think that, hey, this is probably the only way that we can survive. And I just invite you, Nobita, if you're watching this, to try to think of the various possibilities of what came up to those statistics that you referenced versus just throwing around statistics. Because statistics mean nothing without context. How many times do I have to say it? I just want to tell you a little snippet of my story as well. So I was born in Baltimore City, and I've said it in like a few other videos before. I think I had like a rich dad, poor dad experience, because in Baltimore City, predominantly black, a lot of poor people. Then my family moved me to the county, predominantly white. So from kindergarten to high school, I went to predominantly white schools. And growing up and visiting the city so often, I would see like people my age in the city, and I would wonder, like, why don't they try harder? Why don't they go to better schools? Why don't they know this? And it's because they're not educated to know this. There's so many factors from history that have put minorities and black people in these situations today, like redlining, that where they don't have access to the education that I'm so grateful to have accessed. And when I say education, I don't mean just like going to school. I mean the importance of perseverance and knowing that something is possible. This is something that I strongly believe. If you do not see something, then if you do not see the opportunity, you must make your own opportunity. But in order to make your own opportunity, you have to know that it exists. Again, Nobita, I'm not trying to attack you whatsoever. I think that your intentions are really good, but I don't think that you did too much research in this matter, and I don't think, because you've never lived in the US as far as I know, it doesn't seem like you have the ability to talk on this issue until you actually research or maybe move to the US or something like that. I don't think you have the credentials to have such strong opinions as you've shown in your past videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat informative. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, visit my Facebook, and follow me on Instagram. See you next time. Bye!